Hi, I'm Cheyenne Keating, and welcome to Inside Chang Industrial, where we look at the minds behind the mission. Today, I'm joined with Dr. Tim Wei, so let's go ahead and jump into some questions.
Great.
All right, first question is, what positions do you currently hold, and what types of projects are you currently working on?
So in the context of Chang Industrial, I'm the R&D innovation lead. And so I'll be leading a lot of the the new technologies, the technologies that don't exist, that are required in order to make something bigger happen. Right? And so we're working with sensors, everything from sort of like the mother of all snowblowers to composting to sort of new technologies in the food space. It's a very exciting opportunity.
That's awesome. What are you currently doing that you enjoy the most?
Well, so I've had like a 30-year career in higher education as an academic. I was actually a dean of engineering. I actually have a courtesy appointment at Northwestern University. The thing that's really exciting now is the speed at which things are happening. It's just really exciting to be able to be at the forefront of advancing technologies and being in a really lean, agile company like Chang Industrial that allows us to just decide what the future looks like and just make things happen now.
Yeah. Is this the path that you saw yourself being on, like early in your career? Did you see yourself being here?
I saw this absolutely not at all. It's an incredible opportunity. Just very excited to be doing it. I can see how things in my life sort of led to this, but the answer to the question is no. I had absolutely no idea that this was coming.
Well, you just had an article series on the Chang Industrial Thought Leadership blog called The Era of Disruption. Can you describe to us what sustainable disruption is and like what caused this exponential change?
Well, that's actually a lot of very complicated questions all thrown into one. But essentially, the idea is if you look across, so the disruption in society is if you look across really the 19th century, deep into the 20th century, change looked very linear. So you could always seem like you could predict what's going to happen, and if you were smart enough, you could stay ahead of it, right? But really, in the last couple of decades at most, things are changing so rapidly that that we can't sort of predict, and so these are the disruptions, right? And so the challenge facing us today is really trying to figure out how do you get ahead of that? How do you project? So if before things were changing like this, now they're changing like this, how do you get out ahead of that and figure that out?
Well, what are some key insights or tips that you have as we move forward into an era full of disruptive innovation?
So some of the disruptions, things that we talk about is, for instance, and I'm not sure I exactly have the dates right, but I think around very early 2000s, the iPhone came out, the smartphone came out. If you index food prices in 2004, by 2008, food prices had more than doubled. And so what you created food instabilities and all around the world. And there's actually a direct correlation between social media and the rapid increase in food prices and food insecurity that led to the Arab Spring, right? So these are the things that we're talking about. Changes are happening on the time scale of years now, whereas before they were happening on the time scale of decades and centuries, right? And so really what we have to do is we have to learn how to not think so linearly, but really think about unintended consequences, right? And so one example is we are facing an era of very rapid change in climate, right? And so kind of the obvious first choice solution is, oh, well, we need to stop using so much gas, right? So let's go to electric vehicles, right? And there are huge advantages to that. But the problem is the world doesn't have enough supply of materials to make the batteries to make the electric vehicles, right? And so we are going to go from one era where oil was everything to another one where sort of all the rare earth elements are now driving the economy and the geopolitics, right? So the answer to your question is, and I don't think any of us have the answer, right? But it's how do you get to a point where you can actually think over the horizon and be effective in charting your solutions so that you're not just solving what's in front of you right now, but anticipate what's going to happen after that.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Tim, and thank you for joining us on Inside Chang Industrial. We hope you'll join us for our next guest, and we'll see you back very soon.